who don't really want to see you succeed. You ain't never even claimed to be a journalist. That's why people get. I saw somebody.
That's fucking. I said the
somebody
same
got
thing
mad.
I gave him the exact same advice. It's crazy.
Somebody got mad in one of my group chats the other day because Kai didn't know the name of Jay-Z's first album. The name of Jay-Z's first album is older than Kai Sinat. Reasonable Doubt is 26. Kai is 22. Like, why? I don't care that he don't know that.
Why does he have to be a hip hop historian?
Exactly.
Stop it with it.
I don't care that he don't know that.
Let the youth
He
be
never
young,
claimed
man.
to be that person.
By the way, but there's things you can ask me as a 45-year-old about the 80s. I don't know.
AIDS?
Oh my God.
No, that's...
Sham isn't holding back, taking a jab at the journalists backing Diddy and dismissing their opinions as unworthy of attention.
Cassie, you know the artist Cassie.
Oh yeah.
It started when she filed a lawsuit against him for past abuse.
But weren't they were they married? They've been together for a long time.
They were together for a while, yeah. But I guess like when he was with her, I mean the lawsuit details that he used to beat her, that he used to rape her, and that he would also force her to have sex with other guys, and he would film it.
That's so weird.
And then she claimed that Diddy also blew up Kid Cudi's car because Kid Cudi was like hitting on her.
Like a explosion? like a mafia? Wow.
And then also this is, keep in mind that she was 19 and he was 37 at the time. So it's a pretty big difference. The day that lawsuit went public, the next day Diddy's legal team settled it.
Wow. Next day?
Holy
you got a good legal team.
So he was probably like, Cassie, we'll give you 40 mil.
Yeah, I mean they knew about it, but then once the lawsuit actually hit the public eye, then they tried to But it was one of those settlements where they're like, okay, we're gonna pay her the money. Nobody knows how much it was. There's like estimates that she was possibly demanding 30 million. They don't know. But it's one of those, it's not an admission of guilt thing. So Diddy continued to say none of that stuff is true, but we're gonna give her this money. Which kind of sort of sucks that like it got settled out of court because now you'll never really know.
Yeah.
So
that's the way the legal system is though.
So because that lawsuit went through and the settlement happened, a bunch of other people started coming out. A number of women first came out saying that like, oh, he actually like raped me back then during this, and then another woman said that him and like a bunch of his friends like had raped her, they drugged her. A bunch of stuff came out. And then this guy came out and said that he had been assaulted too.
Lil Rod?
Yeah, your boy.
He's my boy Lil Rod, dude.
Yeah, he said that like Diddy had made him have sex with like.
Now he's channeling Dan Diddy, alleging that Diddy's got an entire hit list. Rumor has it that Kid Ku's ex, Cassie's former partner, is on that list, and Diddy supposedly blew up the guy's car.
I can tell you that she's being hailed by many people for speaking on domestic violence, but also because she really speaks, it seems like, from the heart. When people juxtapose her statement with Diddy's apology from a couple days ago, they're seeing a decided difference. It feels like she really wants to be of service. As Elizabeth mentioned, she reaches out to those who are already in a similar situation. And I just feel like a lot of people feel for her, but also they are happy that she's speaking up. It should not take having to see a video of someone being abused to believe the abuse.
With that video of him goofing around with Cassie going viral, it's evident that Diddy has been displaying some seriously shady behavior towards her for a while now.
Diddy brings the engagement. But right now, as I'm talking, there's a woman out there getting beat up by a man, right? And she's not going to get no news coverage. Nobody's going to talk about her.
We should say the name of Cassie, the survivor of the domestic violence.
Yes.
Let's talk more about her.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the issue, Priya. Let's talk about the actual issue and not the individual.
When it comes to us, it doesn't seem to be the thing we think, amplified is the right word.
Charlamagne, you talk about in the book how you own up to the fact that the beginning of your career was all being a shock jock. Like, you were getting kind of into the fame of it all. How did you get to that point and then come all the way to this part? Because your book makes so much sense. A lot of your interviews, it's so powerful, but it's not the same person you were.
Well, I shouldn't be. I'm 45 years old. I was born in 1978. I'll be 46 next month. You know, Muhammad Ali said the person who's doing at 50 the same thing they was doing at 20 wasted 30 years of their life.
Yeah.
I haven't wasted a moment.
Yeah.
You know? If we're not growing and evolving, what are we doing?
Well, because you've also been very open about your mental health journey, seeking out therapy, battling daily anxiety, panic attacks. So one thing I also learned is that you're a tree hugger. That is one thing.
And, you know, I talk about how...
I thought that was like power in it. There's
absolutely.
analogy.
But you don't know that. Like, you hear people say that. And you like, that's crazy. Why would I go out there and hug trees? Try it. It's summertime. It's springtime. Take your shoes off. Take your socks off. Go do some grounding, walk around in the grass.
Yeah,
go hug a tree.
But you know, there are things that live in these trees that we're hugging.
X for bears. Especially in New York.
And no, even New Jersey too.
Yeah.
You go out there and hug a tree and
Don't settle for just any tree.
that's right.
Yeah.
Be discerning about the tree that you're hugging.
Yes.
People don't really be caring about the issues like they care. They care about the individual.
Yeah.
Like people got mad at me last week. Well, I didn't realize they got mad at me for some brilliant idiot shit I said months ago when we were talking about Diddy.
Wow.
And I was just saying how, like, when I see situations like this, it's sad, right? Like, I did Dan Abrams' show, and he played the clip from Idiots, right? But he played it without the context. So the context was, it's sad to see another person, you know, ruin their life based off poor choices.
Yeah.
Right? It's sad to see when these people crash and burn just because they've made poor, alleged poor choices. At the time I said alleged poor choices.
Yeah.
Right? So when somebody asked me about Diddy, it was on The View. They asked me about Diddy and I go, I think we need to focus on the issue, not the individual. Because what happens a lot of times in these situations, we get so caught up in the celebrity of it all that we don't ever take the time to talk about what's the real core issue here. To me, it's domestic violence. It's these men that need to go do the work on themselves because they're dealing with all this hurt and this pain and this unhealed trauma, and they're projecting that on the other women. And it's the patriarchy. Because you got a guy like a Diddy who's in a position of power who probably don't look at any woman as an equal or as
it's a sociopathic, power-hungry narcissist.
But that's still all mental health related. That's still all something that you need to go
be
get
crazy
checked.
people out there. Yes.
So my point is, we don't ever talk about the issue. Now it's Diddy's music is banned from Peloton and Diddy's eyeglasses are taken out. Who gives a fuck? Whatever happens to him as an individual, he's got to deal with the consequences of his actions. But the issue is still going to be going on.
That's interesting.
As I'm talking right now, somebody's getting their ass kicked. Some woman's getting their ass kicked right now. Nobody's even paying her no attention.
And then we move on once we see justice is served for the individual.
That's right.
We act as if the issue is taken care of.
That's
when in
right.
reality, it's not taken care of at all.
At all.
But our passivity comes in because we feel satisfied because we never cared about the issue. I've never cared as strong, but like we cared more about the fact that this famous person we saw our whole lives is involved in this fucking thing.
Pound of flesh. Now, I largely agree with you. Could you make the argument that there is still some benefit in seeing, we're going to make an example out of this guy. You're going to take this guy who was a demigod of sorts, like so powerful, and he's going to be stripped to nothing, and these are the consequences of those actions.
Yes, but you have to put the lesson in it, right? Like, we can't have these small conversations about Diddy and what it means to his legacy, whatever. We have to say, this is what happens to your legacy when you do bullshit behavior like this. Yeah. Like, I don't think we ever have those discussions when it comes to celebrity. Yeah. Like, all we see is all of these guys get canceled. All of these guys.
100%.
to prison, as they should. But then what?
R. Kelly, same exact thing.
The behavior
Nobody's
keeps
talking about
going.
human trafficking. Nobody's talking about what's happening to these.
Nothing.
Yeah.
He pees on people.
That's it. Yeah. Which is hilarious.
Yeah. What's the lesson with Diddy? It's like, oh, he's gay.
He's gay, but it's not.
We don't know that yet.
Fair.
That is the other. What we know about Diddy is he absolutely puts his hands on women. We've seen that.
I think that part.
Drugs like a motherfucker.
Yes.
Gotta be.
That's clear.
And she said he was intoxicated as shit, but you are Sean P. Diddy Combs.
Yeah.
And you're in the Intercontinental Hotel and you run out in a how? This was 2016 they said, or 18?
Yeah.
This guy was 46 years old. Yeah. You're a multi, you might have been a billionaire by
I don't chalk it up to, like, no drug makes you beat a woman.
No.
You beat women and then you're on drugs.
I agree with
and then you do it. Like,
it's not only drugs.
Yeah, it's not only, I'm not saying it's not only drugs, but this isn't regular behavior, bro. Like I
think it's regular.
You're running in a hotel with a towel on.
I agree with him. I think it's regular for him. I think he's such a fucking monster. The amount of times you got to hit your girl to not give a fuck that you're in public.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
But I think that he's just such a power hungry person that when I think he feels invincible when he has the power, and these types of things unfortunately make him feel invincible.
Yeah.
Top or bottom?
What?
Top or bottom?
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Power bottom.
I think honestly, I think it's top, and I don't even think it's a gay thing. I think everything about his life is power and how he can exert power on people. I think that's why watching people fuck someone is power. It's like, I'm going to make you do this thing you don't even want to do, and I'm going to watch and enjoy it.
That's why he loves the Joker.
Charlamagne believes that Diddy feels invincible, as if he can get away with anything, even assaulting his girlfriend in public.
On talent, where does he rank?
Purely on talent, I think he comes in probably around 6 on a scale from 1 to 10. He's not talented because he's not much of a great creator. You know, he's a great spokesperson or a person to just be in the place of a thing, but not great as far as talent is concerned. And, you know, I wanted to reiterate one thing that you just was talking about. And we're talking about this system that's called the blackball system, where what happens is if you don't agree with someone like Puff, then you're up against a big system that won't, like, for an example, when I first released the book in 2009, it was very difficult for me to get an interview on my own radio stations here in Atlanta because they said that he was spending so much money on marketing and promoting Ciroc and his liquors and his brands. So they was like, it would be it would be a conflict of interest. So it's a lot of people who are in positions, such as Vlad. Vlad, I'm glad to be on this platform with you today, but I've always been waiting for you to reach out to me to say, Mark, let's do an interview. I've done one with Sean Prez, but I was waiting on you. And it's those kind of things that we put in place that prevent from us spreading.
Charlamagne is essentially suggesting that anyone who crosses Diddy ends up dead. He's even hinted, albeit controversially, that Diddy might somehow be connected to Tupac and Biggie's murders, which is pretty outlandish.
The magic Salter is so powerful and rich, and he's so hooked up, connected, and LinkedIn. First of all, that he's not on LinkedIn, but he's also so omnipotent, so vicious, that people that cross him get hurt or disappear. So maybe this is my last Armageddon update. I'm just kidding, Sean. You know I love you. I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. Every movie, you know, he stole that from Sting, and he has to pay Sting $5.
His apartment with the firearm in pursuit of a rival industry executive whom he learned was nearby. All
right, never mind. He could have absolutely killed Tupac if he's doing shit like that. He's assassinating rival industry executives.
Yeah.
Yep. So for what it's worth, I don't know if you clarified, but the car explosion was actually Kid Cudi being the victim. So Kid Cudi's car exploded in his driveway, and P. Diddy is the one that...
The book is great, by the way.
Thank you very much.
In the book, you also say this. You say we need to have some difficult conversations about hip-hop and how it can be both a positive cultural force and self-destructive. Now, can you explain what you mean by that? And what do you... Well, let's start there.
Well, I just think about the influence of hip hop and, the influence that hip hop has on culture, the way that we, talk, the way that we walk, the way that we dress, and, just growing up, all the influence that hip hop had on me. And, I just think that, you have to use that tool of hip hop, that resource of hip hop to really, empower people. Like when I look at guys like, Kendrick Lamar with his last album, Mr. Morale, and the Big Steppers, or Jay-Z, the 444 album. I think in the future we're going to look at those albums and say those are two of the most important hip-hop albums of all time because of the topics that they're discussing on it. Like they're talking about, going to therapy. They're talking about, the infidelity that they did and how they're trying to be better men towards their women. And just, the whole journey of healing, like that's what we should be talking about. Like if you look at the last 50 years of hip hop, it was almost like we were little boys. And now we're growing into manhood. And in order to continue to have a career, like you do have to grow up.
Yeah.
You do.
And I'm not sure if you want to answer this, but what are your thoughts on everything going on with Diddy right now?
I think when it comes to that situation, man, I think we shouldn't focus on the individual. We should focus on the issue. Because I think what happens a lot of times is, because of the celebrity, we get lost in talking about the celebrity and not talking about the actual issue. The issue is domestic violence. The issue is exactly what I just said about, men not going to do the proper work on themselves, and they're dealing with a lot of pain and a lot of hurt and unhealed trauma, and they're projecting that pain and that hurt on the other people. The issue is patriarchy, right? Because as long as you have a system where men